Welcome to Challenge Forex. My name is Steve, and join me today as we go through part 3 of the current series. We are testing, we're using backtesting software to try and pass a prop firm challenge based on their rules. Just a simulation at this point before we decide to actually spend $500 on a 100k prop firm challenge. So the rules I'm using, I'm doing a 10k account. We've got a profit target of 10%. And a maximum loss of 10%, a daily drawdown of 5%. And the goal is to see how well we can pass this challenge using the simulator software before we actually pass the real prop firm challenge. And the idea is to see if we can get it down to as few days as possible for the challenge. Now, the first example we used a 1% risk and 1R as the risk to reward, and that took 37 trades to actually pass. And stage 2 or part 2, we got it down to 25 trades. That's using 1% risk and 1.5R. So now we're going to use 2% risk today and a 1.5R to see if we can actually get the result down to less than 25 days. Let's load the simulator software and get started with our back test. And today we're going to use similar settings to our last video, Euro USD, but I'm going to change the period that we're doing testing from. So let's say starting from the 3rd of August 2020. For this one, we're using a $10,000 account, and we're simulating a back test for a 10k prop firm challenge. So the rules being that we have to meet a profit target of either 8% or 10%, depending on which prop firm you're going with. So I'm going to use 10% for this example just to make it more interesting. And the maximum loss allowed is 10%, and the maximum daily loss is 5%. So we're going to use these rules and see if we can actually pass a prop firm challenge with these rules, and if we do pass, how many trades does it actually take to do so. And I'm going to use a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 1.5, so that is 1.5R. So let's set up the chart and get started. I'm going to use a 1 hour chart for this one. And risk percent, last time I did this test I used a 1% risk. I'm going to do this time with a 2% risk, and that means we're going to make either lose 2% or win 3% on each trade, and hoping that this will actually speed up the process of our prop firm challenge. So the indicators we're going to use the same as for our last test, which was we use EMA and Stochastic. With the EMA, I'm only using 3 moving averages. That's a 20, 50 and 200. And for the stochastic indicator, I'm using a K period of 10 and 3 and 3. So those two settings are default. So hopefully, the plan being anyway, is if we can beat our last effort where we made it in 25 trades by risking 1% and going for a target of 1.5, I'm thinking that if we can do okay with this one without hitting our maximum loss, we can actually do in a shorter period. So quickly to go over the rules for you, I'll show you what a setup looks like. And this one is actually a perfect setup that we've got here on the chart right now. We're looking for an uptrend where the moving averages are spreading out. So we've got a good angle here on this one. We want to pull back to the moving averages, and to the 50 moving average is actually a good pullback. Like it's not too big, not too deep. but it's enough to actually make it worthwhile. And we've got down here the stochastic is oversold, so we're looking at it going long here. Okay, so let's get started and see if we can find our first couple of trades. Once we've placed the first couple of trades, just so that you can see how it's done, I'm going to skip through to the end of the video and look at the test results. That way we can, instead of making the video like 45 minutes long, we can maybe skip it down to perhaps 15 or 20 minutes perhaps. Okay, this looks like our first setup, and just checking the stop loss level. This one is about 26 pips, and because we're using 1.5, we add 13 to that, which is about 50%, so that takes us up to 39 pips. Plus I'm going to add one extra pip just to cover the actual cost of the commission, which is $7 per lot turnaround, and also it'll help cover the spreads as well. That way when we do make a loss, we're only losing 1%, but if we make a gain, we earn our 1.5% plus a little bit of extra as well. Okay, first target is reached, so we're already up by 2.99%, and that's only after our first trade. So I'm thinking if we can do pretty good with 2% risk, we should be able to reach our profit target fairly quickly. Off to a really good start. Not very often we win 2 in a row. In our last back test that we did, we actually lost the first 2 trades, so we were down by 2% right from the start. But as you can see on this one at the moment, we are actually up by 6% now, and this is only after our 2 trades. So at the moment looking good, but let's just see how we go the next few trades. Now one thing, because we're risking 2% on a trade, I don't want to actually put on 2 trades on the same day, so we're only going to risk at a maximum 1% per day. And remember, the maximum we can lose with the prop firm challenge is actually 5% per day. With 2 losses so far, but we're still up by 1.75%. Now it looks like here we have a change in direction for the trend. It's going sideways at the moment, but the price is currently below the EMAs, so we're looking at now short trades, unless it closes above, which it is actually doing now. So we're looking again now for long trades. There's something here that's actually very interesting with this setup, and it's divergence. So this is one thing that we can maybe take into account with our trades. I mean, we can see here that at this point the stochastic was actually below the oversold mark, and then afterwards we have stochastic here above the oversold mark, but the actual price was sloping down here and up here, causing divergence. So normally this is actually a good setup, and although we didn't take this trade, and let's see, 30 pips stop loss, it is actually in profit at the moment. Let's see if this actually would have worked out. Yeah, I think this one would have actually worked out for us. Yeah, 56 pips. So that would have actually been a good trade, even though we didn't take it. So something to keep an eye on in the future for possible trade setups, some divergence. We set another losing trade, which I think is 3 consecutive losses, but it's okay, we'll keep going. Looks like a change in direction here. We're now looking for short trades. Now at the moment, I don't like where the price is at. It's not giving us a clear down signal. We're sort of crossing above and below the EMA line. So I'm just going to leave this for a little bit longer. I would prefer to see a sort of a trend like this instead of up and down. Let's skip this one for the moment. We might miss a trade, but it's worthwhile not taking the risk. Okay, we've reached our target. We were aiming for 10% and we've actually reached 12.33%. So we've actually done that quite well. And let's have a look at the graph. You can see here, we didn't take many trades, but we did get a good result. So looking at the history, well, closed trades is better. So we can see we only took 9 trades to actually pass this challenge. So I'm thinking that this is actually a little bit better than the previous 2 attempts where we went 1% in 1.5R on the last attempt, and that took 25 trades. So this one is actually much better. The risk is higher, but as long as we only take 1 trade per day, the results should be good. Now looking at the statistics, we have here 9 total trades, 6 winners and 3 losses. That gives us a 66% win rate, which is really good for 1.5R. I'm really happy with the results from today's test. And just to recap, on our first test with the stochastic indicator and the EMAs, we used 1% risk and 1R for the risk to reward ratio. And it took 37 trades for that one to actually pass the challenge. The next test we did was using the same settings but 1.5R, and that got us down to 25 trades. And for this one, the third test, we used 2% risk and 1.5R, and the results were even better. Only took 9 trades and 66% win rate to actually pass the challenge. So watch out for my next video where we go through and do another test, see if we can get even better results.